Unfortunately, there are loads of animals that like to eat succulent leaves and find them very appealing. In the wild, many rely on succulents to survive thanks to their ability to store water. In cultivation, succulents seem to be a tasty snack for a broad range of animals, both small and large. Succulent munchers will vary depending on where you are. However, a lot of the world shares the same succulent pests, especially the small ones. Animals that eat succulents can be divided into two groups, small and big. Small ones are insects such as aphids, caterpillars, grasshoppers, mealybugs, snails and slugs. The bigger ones are likely to be birds, cows, deer, goats, horses, kangaroos, mice, possums and other herbivores. If you don't live in a rural setting, you won't have to worry about many of these larger animals decimating your succulents. Now let's have a closer look at each of these. Aphids are common around the world and are particularly drawn to succulents. They can come in many different colors and spread incredibly fast. Female aphid can give birth to live, already pregnant nymphs. Aphids don't take large chunks while feeding, instead they puncture the plant and suck its juices out. This might not seem too bad and a few aphids do not cause much damage, but the thing with aphids is that they spread fast and can overwhelm a plant. After an aphid attack, the leaves can grow twisted and scarred. This does not fix itself, but the succulent will eventually grow out of the damage in several months' time. They usually appear when a plant is growing fresh new leaves and/or flowering. Aphids love young growth. Thankfully, aphids are easy to control and there are lots of natural predators such as this ladybug. Natural predators can be bought from specialist shops and are perfect if you have a greenhouse. The best and easiest way to deal with aphids is pyrethrum spray. Organic versions are available, but beneficial insects can be killed by it as well. It is therefore best to spray in the evening when the good bugs are not flying. The great thing about this insecticide is that it's made from the pyrethrum plant and is not too damaging to the environment. It will also kill ants. Ants can often be seen on plants with aphids. Some people think they eat aphids, but the opposite is true. Ants farm and protect aphids from predators, and in return they harvest their honeydew, which is a sugary sap aphids secrete. The secrets to keeping aphids at bay is to act fast and not to let them spread and infest. This AO near Mardi Gras are just waking up from their dormancy and aphids are already flocking in for their meal. During this time I spray periodically every week or so, otherwise the aphids would completely take over and ruin my stock. This little plant has another succulent pest hiding in its foliage and it's not good news. Which takes us to mealybugs. This pest is every succulent grower's nightmare and it's hard to control and fast spreading. The mealybug hides in the foliage in a protective cottony cocoon and can be hard to spot until it's too late. Female mealybugs can lay over 100 eggs in a short time, leading to speedy infestations. Once mealybugs take hold, they can be difficult to eradicate. Mealybugs can also be subterranean and attack the roots of a succulent. Like aphids, mealybugs are farmed and protected by ants. The worst thing is, mealybugs can become resistant to insecticides and are very difficult to get rid of. They cause irreparable damage to succulents and can even kill a plant if not kept in check. Mealybugs can be controlled by 70% alcohol solution, squashing natural predators, and by keeping the growing area clean and free of debris. I found that regular checks of my plants and cleaning are the best control methods. Mealybugs are masters at hiding and will find a hard-to-spot space for themselves as well as their eggs. This is why debris such as fallen leaves and clutter is best cleaned. They will also hide under the rim of pots, under pots, in dead leaves, under tables and in any out-of-sight crevice. If you spot a couple of mealybugs, squashing may be sufficient, but a full-blown infestation will need to be treated by either 70% alcohol or the plant will need to be disposed of. Alcohol will not kill all the mealybugs and can cause burns on sensitive succulents, but it is, in my experience, the best, especially when mealybugs are small. Now let's move on to snails and slugs. The difference between a snail and a slug is the shell. Snails carry one throughout their lives, while slugs don't. They are both, however, quite similar in the way they feed, and they absolutely love succulent leaves. Snails and slugs usually come out at night and hide during the day, which makes them incredibly hard to catch. Just like many other pests, snails and slugs go to great lengths to avoid detection and hide really well. When I found this little guy hiding in the actual pot, even I was a tad surprised. Slugs and snails can do a lot of damage to a succulent as they eat large chunks and can raise small plants to the ground overnight. There are thankfully lots of pesticides available to deal with slugs and snails, but also some ingenious eco-friendly ways, such as beer in shallow bowls or orange peels. It is important to keep these pests at bay as they can completely destroy a collection of plants if their numbers are healthy and they discover a good hiding spot nearby. You can see just how much damage this one little guy is doing here, and if left unchecked, most of the new growth would be eaten. Lots of insects such as butterflies and moths target succulents with their eggs as they will provide a superb food source once caterpillars hatch. I don't like calling caterpillars pests as most will transform into beneficial pollinators and we don't really try and control them here at the nursery. If we find one, it gets relocated to a part of the garden where the damage they do is not a big deal. Some caterpillars will move from plant to plant and some will stay in one plant feeding off it until they are ready to form a cocoon and eventually emerge as a butterfly or whatever other insect. Now this one here is having a great time munching through the most succulent leaves of this young plant. Caterpillars can cause lots of damage as they tend to go for the youngest leaves. There are insecticides available to deal with caterpillars, but please keep in mind you are likely killing a future butterfly or a moth and these guys are already dying out. Grasshoppers are agile and often winged and move fast from plant to plant. They also take large chunks out of leaves and can do great damage. Grasshoppers, however, do not attack succulents that much, certainly a lot less than all the other animals we have talked about so far. To be honest, we don't really control grasshoppers either. They don't often find their way into the greenhouses and when they do, I just take them out. There are insecticides to kill them, but netting is a good and eco-friendly alternative. Now moving on to the bigger animals, starting with birds. Birds will sometimes feed off succulents, but in my 10 years of running a succulent nursery, I have not seen many. Our chickens and ducks love to eat small-leaved sedum and Eptenia, but not much else. However, I have heard of parrots and pigeons feeding on succulents. If there are birds preying on your succulents, netting and scarecrows provide the best protection. Mice and rats like to eat succulents, especially when there is not much else around in the cooler months. They can easily completely polish off a smaller succulent and go for the most succulent leaves in the middle. We have solved our mice problem by putting our plants on tables with smooth legs. Netting will also help. And last but not least, large herbivores. If one of these gets into your succulents, that's it for the succulents. The good news is that the majority of people will not have to worry about these. If you, however, live in a rural area and have poor fences, there is a good chance that the local herbivores will eventually find your succulents and eat them. In conclusion, there will always be something trying to eat your plants no matter what you're growing. Thankfully, succulents tend to regrow if part of them is eaten or damaged by pests. Most animals that munch on succulents can be controlled and stopped by greenhouses, other barriers or chemicals. Having said that, most eco-friendly ways should always be considered. If you'd like to learn more about how to grow succulents, visit our website succulentgrowingtips.com.